Is a Ready Player One future closer than we think? My name's Jay, and in this video I want to explore 3 possible reasons why a future lived in the metaverse may not be too far away. Before I share my thoughts, let's quickly recap Ready Player One for those who haven't read it. So, Ready Player One is a science fiction novel by Ernest Cline. It was published in 2011, and the story is set in a dystopian future in 2045, which is not all that far away now, where the world is plagued by overpopulation, poverty and environmental decay. Sounds familiar, right? The book's known for its extensive references to 1980s pop culture, video games and science fiction movies. It received a lot of praise for its nostalgic elements and its exploration of the balance between virtual and real life. The novel was adapted into a film directed by Steven Spielberg in 2018. In the story, the protagonist Wade Watts embarks on a quest within a virtual reality world called The Oasis, which was created by James Halliday, an eccentric tech genius and introverted if not slightly awkward character. In this future, people increasingly live their daily lives in the Oasis, whether that's going to work, going to school, enjoying hobbies, or just hanging out with friends. The Oasis has become an escape for people from their daily struggles, and the virtual world is now preferred to the real world. The Oasis is made up of digital planets, each serving different purposes and following different rules. Some are combat games where your avatar's death has real-world consequences. Others are social planets where people go to share their love of a specific genre, film, game, etc. And some planets are dedicated to education, where children now attend school in the Oasis. Essentially, if you can think of it, there's probably a planet to visit where you can indulge that love or obsession. In the Oasis, people move around via an avatar, a digital representation of themselves, equipped with virtual clothing, accessories, special skins depicting their favourite media stars, all paid for with digital currency that works across the globe. And when it comes to accessing the Oasis, there are tools for everyone, from the cheapest, lowest barrier for entry VR headsets to the most sophisticated rigs providing full-body haptic feedback and the best visual fidelity. Ultimately, it comes down to what you can afford and whether you live in the slums or you can afford the life of luxury. As I read this, you may be thinking this all sounds very plausible based on where we are today in 2024. Some of you may be thinking the opposite and still think that this all sounds ludicrous. But consider that this story was written in 2011, just a year after Apple launched the first iPad and 5 years before Oculus would release the Rift, their first commercially available mass-market VR headset. When I read the book for the first time back in the mid-2010s, I thought it sounded amazing, and as a tech enthusiast, I thought it was all possible, but the effort to code these immersive worlds felt like it would be too expensive and too time-consuming, and the hardware was way off at that point. Fast forward 10 years though, and it's feeling very different indeed as the metaverse continues to march forward and AI is serving to accelerate this further. So, back to the original question. Is a Ready Player One future closer than we think? Well, let me tell you why I think it is, and let's start with the hardware. If you're at all interested in tech or gaming, then the rise of VR technology cannot have escaped your attention. Although it took a backseat in 2023 thanks to Gen AI, companies like Meta and now Apple have continued to invest in this future, and you only need to look at their latest offerings to see how far we've come. We should also not forget that they have their competitors. I won't name them all, but Sony with their second generation PSVR 2 still have an interest in this space, and of course there's Valve and Pico both competing with devices in the mix. Until the launch of the Apple Vision Pro this year though, it had seen that high-powered, high-cost headset devices really lacked a market. Meta released the Quest Pro in 2022, which sold poorly, receiving price cuts within just months of launch, and then Meta themselves made the device redundant 12 months later when they released the more advanced Quest 3 for a third of the price of the Pro series. And, of course, when Apple announced the $3,500 price tag for the Vision Pro, many laughed, suggesting this was far too much for the average consumer. Although as I'm recording this, we're just a week or so post-launch and it seems those price tags have not been putting people off, and the initial impressions of the devices are mostly positive, with most buyers acknowledging there are some shortfalls, but suggesting we may be seeing a glimpse into the future and witnessing the birth of the next smartphone-like movement. It's typical for Apple's first generation devices to see swift revisions and improvements on multiple fronts, and it seems likely this will be the case with the Vision Pro. Personally, I think I'll wait for a second generation device, but they do have me really excited for the future. Of course, Meta and other competing manufacturers will see the success of the Vision Pro as both a challenge to them, which they need to meet, and potentially an excuse to produce more expensive, higher spec devices now that Apple have proved that consumers will buy them. So who knows where this takes us over the next few years. We've also seen a rise in accessories to accompany our virtual endeavours, with haptic suits and multi-directional treadmills coming to market. Although these remain niche and expensive, if they do take off, they will come down in price and become more affordable, with alternatives coming online all the time. Much like in the Ready Player One fictional future, what you're prepared to spend will dictate the quality of the experience, and that seems to resonate with the current state of VR hardware. Okay, so let's talk software, as hardware alone does not make an experience. The software is key to driving users to these new technologies. Now, I'm not going to get into Apple OS versus Meta OS or anything like that. There are a plethora of resources on the internet and some great videos on YouTube of people doing just that. Instead, in the context of what I'm going to suggest here, there are two specific tools or products that I want to talk about, and both of them relate back to one organisation, Epic Games. So first of all, let's talk about Unreal Engine. If you don't know what it is? Well, Unreal Engine is a powerful real-time 3D creation tool developed by Epic Games. It's widely used in the gaming industry and beyond, allowing developers to create high-fidelity interactive experiences. The engine provides a comprehensive suite of tools for game development, virtual production, architectural visualization, and more. It's known for its advanced graphics capabilities, and it's been used to create a wide range of games and immersive experiences. It's also used in film and television production for creating virtual sets and real-time composition of shots. Now, this is important because this toolset now transcends any one form of media, and it's increasingly used to create immersive worlds for many different forms of media. To accompany the Creator Suite, there's a store full of user-created 3D assets that can be used to build immersive worlds. And although these are more often used to create flat experiences for consumption on a traditional TV or monitor, the arrival of a mod by the name of UEVR has potentially changed the game. UEVR, or Universal Unreal Engine VR, is a mod created by a developer called Praydog that allows users to transform their favourite Unreal Engine games into a 6DOF, or 6 Degrees of Freedom, VR experience with minimal effort. The mod offers features such as 6DOF support, full stereoscopic 3D, a front-end GUI for easy process injection, support for OpenVR and OpenXR runtimes, and a native UE4, UE5 stereo rendering system. It also provides an in-game menu with shortcuts, support for multiple headsets, and a plug-in system for additional features. The mod has been incredibly well received within the VR community for its ability to add VR support to a wide range of Unreal Engine games, making it a popular tool for VR enthusiasts. With this development, suddenly a host of previously flat screen experiences become viable VR experiences with very little effort. The user can create an immersive world in the Unreal Engine toolkit and turn it into a VR world with almost no additional effort or skills, but it will surely be a matter of time before this becomes available natively within the tool, and dramatically increasing the experiences available and reducing the cost to create them, which is certainly a barrier at the moment for developers in justifying investments into VR development. This leads me neatly onto my final point in the software space. Also under Epic Games is the juggernaut Fortnite. Fortnite is an online video game and game platform developed by Epic Games and released in 2017. The game has gained immense popularity and features various modes such as Battle Royale, Rocket Racing, Lego Fortnite, which is essentially Minecraft with Lego assets, and Fortnite Creative, a sandbox game mode that allows players to create their own games and experiences using Fortnite assets. Fortnite has become known for its in-game events, collaborations and live concerts, making it a dynamic and evolving gaming experience. Fortnite have taken their success in the Battle Royale genre and used it to turn it into an ever-growing platform, allowing creators to build their own islands themed around their interests. They can become combat-based or experience-driven through things like music events and festivals. They've recently added Guitar Hero-like music rhythm gaming to the expansive list of features. All of these experiences allow you to express yourself with your avatar. Whether that's a skin that depicts your favourite movie or video game characters, even your favourite influencers. The worlds that can now be created are limitless, and the way that you can express yourself in those worlds is also growing all the time, with more and more collaborations being announced by the developer. Given that Fortnite is built on the Unreal Engine, and we already talked about the power that UEVR brings to easily convert these experiences to VR, it is surely not too far outside of the realms of possibility that we could see Fortnite make the move to VR soon, taking us that bit closer to a Ready Player One future. And in fact, just as I was writing the script for this video, Disney announced a $1.5 billion investment with Epic Games to bring Disney-specific experiences to Fortnite. Will we see more media powerhouses take similar steps? I think we will. Finally, we cannot avoid the elephant in the room: AI. There are lots of applications for AI in the digital media space. Many are unpopular with artists, and I completely understand that. I am not advocating for AI to replace artists when I make this next statement, but the threat is here, and the possible applications of this tech in helping us to realise the Ready Player One future, to me, are obvious. First of all, generative AI is being used across the creative mediums to rapidly generate art, whether that's imagery, movies, music, and 3D assets. There are obvious applications for all of those in VR, but I think it's the 3D assets that has the potential to drive down the barriers to creating immersive VR worlds. As I mentioned before, the cost associated with developing VR experiences is generally greater than flat screen, and the time involved in handcrafting these worlds and the objects that fill them can be prohibitive. If Gen AI can do this in a fraction of the time and remove the cost and effort for developers, then it seems an obvious step. Hopefully, what we'll see is gifted artists being allowed the time and freedom to spend that time on elements that really bring these experiences to life, and the AI is left to the mundane, like creating 100 variations of a tree to build an immersive forest. The other place I see Gen AI playing a part is the world building, specifically with NPCs or non-playable characters. In many games, NPCs are placed around these digital worlds to make them feel more real and lived in. However, that quickly falls apart when you exhaust the 2 or 3 lines of written, or if you're lucky, voice-acted dialogue. However, with advancements in AI bringing us chatbots that can embody true personalities and interests, and be trained on the context of the environment they're in, we could quickly see our NPCs take on true life and have many more ways to interact with players. Text-to-speech is also getting incredibly powerful and realistic. Just download the ChatGPT app and check out the voices that you can choose to have AI interact with you. The speed of response and the realism of the voice is really impressive. If you can be walking around a virtual world and talking to these NPCs who then respond in real time with dynamic dialogue, this could be a game changer. And it's all increasingly possible with each passing month as firms like Meta and others bring more and more advancements in this space. So there you go. Couple the rapid developments in VR hardware, the diversion of technologies that will drive down the cost to develop virtual worlds, and AI to fill those worlds with dynamic characters, and perhaps the Ready Player One future is closer than we think. I'll leave it to you to decide. Let me know in the comments if you agree, and what are the developments in technology you've seen that you think make this future a reality we should be taking more seriously. I'll see you in the next video.